Wat gaat er toch fout bij Schiphol? Wat gaat er toch fout bij al die andere luchthavens? En wat gaat er toch fout in de digitaliseringsslag van veel bedrijven? Daar gaat de volgende video over, die heel verhelderend is welke stappen genomen moeten worden en waar nu echt de crux zit van alle problemen. Over het algemeen gaan veranderingen, en dat bij digitalisering niet anders, in 3 stappen. Een stap naar efficiëntie, lagere kosten, besparingen. Een stap naar optimalisatie, het beter kunnen uitoefenen van bepaalde functies, waarbij er ook een integratie komt van bepaalde systemen of een koppeling van bepaalde systemen en een universele database met alle relevante informatie. En tenslotte is dit de basis van grote veranderingen, de zogenaamde disruptie. Als we nu focussen alleen op efficiëntie, dan zien we vaak dat elke functie apart wordt gedigitaliseerd en elke functie verandert. Maar op dat moment heb je allemaal aparte functies die niet gekoppeld zijn. En er hoeft iets te gebeuren en op dat moment loopt het natuurlijk fout. Wat je ook kunt zien bij Schiphol, dat elke functie apart is. En als er één functie niet goed functioneert, dan zie je de hele kaarthuis in elkaar storten. Want gegevens die zijn niet gekoppeld en het systeem is niet aangepast aan de nieuwe mogelijkheden of de beperkte mogelijkheden. Waarom moet bijvoorbeeld nog koffers worden ingecheckt? Die kunnen allemaal in de laadruimte. En op dat moment gaat die beveiliging veel sneller. Waarom is die data beschikbaar op elk gewenst moment binnen de hele journey die je doormaakt? En hetzelfde zie je bij bedrijven, waarbij elke afdeling apart wordt gedigitaliseerd, efficiënt gemaakt en optimalisatie voor het hele bedrijfsproces, verandert het hele bedrijfsproces, is niet aanwezig. Ook data is niet altijd aanwezig op de plek waar men het nodig heeft. En dat is toch de basis voor die disruptie. In de volgende clip, die wat langer duurt dan u van mij gewend bent, wordt uitvoerig ingegaan op de stappen die genomen worden bij digitalisering, wat er fout gaat, wat het eindplaatje wordt. En ik vind het zelf een zeer verhelderende video voor alle bedrijven die aan de vooravond staan voor een verandering op weg naar de toekomst.
Night around 10 p.m. and I found myself wheeling a cart of 2 suitcases, each weighing about 50 pounds, jostling my way into an airport in India. It took me 34 minutes just to get into the terminal. There was hardly a semblance of a queue. People just gathered around as a cone as 2 security guards in front were trying to validate an ID with a ticket. Apparently they were doing their job, but they did not think it was their responsibility to organize the line. So the process would have been much more smoother if they did that. The airport administrator might have had grand plans of making the customer experience great, but that was not the reality on the ground. Leaders might say that they want to modernize systems, go digital, reimagine the customer experience, be agile, drive a paradigm shift, re-engineer the business, so on. But look at it from the point of view of the security guards or any other worker on the ground. They likely have no clue what that all means. These ideas are too abstract. They don't care, and they do the job to meet the metrics against which they are measured. Obviously, there's a big gap between leadership vision and execution on the ground. How do you fill this gap? Architecture can play a significant role in bridging this gap. Let's use an analogy. Say you want to be healthier. You are the CEO, the architect, and the worker of that aspiration. As CEO, you set the vision to be healthier, but that's not enough. As an architect, you must figure out how the different things you might be able to do will help you achieve your goals. Eat more nutritious food, switch to a less stressful job, get more exercise, be more adventurous, and so on. You figure out which ones matter most and how you can fit these actions in the context of your life. Finally, as a worker, you execute the specific tactics that you have decided to pursue, like eating better and exercising more. In large organizations, the CEO, the architect, and the worker are different people, so it's hard to change. What do? Good communication is critical to get the message across. Each should be able to understand the other using a shared language. But understanding is not enough. You need to motivate people to change, maybe through a shared vision of doing good for the customer or through incentives. My past month's travel took me through multiple international airports, including Chicago, Zurich, Mumbai, Frankfurt, and Chennai. Some were better than the others, but essentially it was a combination of people, process, and technology that made all the difference. The goal is to check customers in quickly but ensure safety. A high guarantee of safety will make the administrator happy, but it'll take so long that it'll frustrate the customer. Zipping through with lax security is not good either. The optimal is somewhere in between. A good starting point is understanding and influencing the customer's expectations and designing the processes around that. At Disney, for example, you'll find signs that tell you how long it is going to take to get to the front of the line from that point. This simple trick anchors the customer's expectation. If the line moves faster, the customer is pleasantly surprised. The business needs to work backwards from this anchor point of expectation to improve their operations and reduce the gap between vision and reality. At Frankfurt, we went through transit. Just switching planes took us about 2 hours, as we had to wind through a queue for security check, another queue for COVID check, and a convoluted path to our destination terminal. Mind you, we were transit passengers who had already been on the plane, and we had already gone through security and COVID checks earlier. At one point in this winding path, they even had a vending machine for water. At that point, we didn't even know that we were going to go through security, so you essentially had to throw the bottle away. While leaders create grandiose statements, people on the ground are accountable for the safety and security of the passengers. These people do not have an overarching view of the end-to-end process. They work in silos against a metric that they're measured against. Without a big picture blueprint, local improvements may or may not be effective. For example, each area might have a budget to procure new technology systems independently, but they may not integrate. As a result, the customer experience will be disjointed, like asking for identification in each step of the process because the information was never transferred over. Each department, like check-in, security, immigration, customs, baggage claim, gate agent, and so on, did their jobs effectively, but still the overall process sucked. And then there's a question of accountability. Who's accountable for what? Sometimes nobody seems to be accountable for some parts of the process, such as forming the lines. Technology by itself will not solve the problem, even if that technology is artificial intelligence. They must be the right ones, integrated well into the business process. If you are in construction and you transport large volumes of parts, switching to a Tesla from a truck will not help, even though the Tesla is much more advanced. Earlier, I mentioned a blueprint. What form does this blueprint take? It doesn't have to be anything complicated. What I drew here is a simple blueprint that can help leaders understand their organization. Yes, you can have more sophisticated artifacts like customer experience journey or value streams or process maps or capability models or information models, but simple doodles are often enough to get started. Such a doodle will help leaders have the same mental model of what's happening on the ground. Understanding each other in a very simple way is the foundation for digital transformation. With a clear mental model, leaders can effectively communicate their vision and needs to the employees on the ground who can then take responsibility for executing on it.